Hey darlings, today we're going to talk about the fact that not everybody is going to like your writing, and that's okay. So, here's a story for you. I wrote a book. Wrote a couple books. And my friend that is very smart and was going to be like a journalist and all that stuff, is very good with the grammar and the whatnots, is my editor. And she read my book and she edited it. And she didn't say anything about what she thought. And I was too nervous to ask. So I'm like, what if she doesn't like it? And I was mentioning that to my mate, my love. I was like, yeah, I don't know what she thinks of it. And then she was doing my second book and was over and we had dinner and stuff. And so my partner just asks her and he's like, hey, so how's the editing going on the second book? And she's like, oh, good. Like I did my first quick read through, caught a few things. Now I'm going through, to do a more thorough check-in of all the stuff. And he's like, yeah, is it getting you excited? Which I was like, why would you ask that? Like horrified. Because there's some sensual scenes in there. And she like rolls her eyes and she's like, no. Like almost kind of like disgusted. And I was like, I mean, it's not everybody's cup of tea. The kind of sensual scenes that are in there. So I'm like, man, that's just not her thing. That's fine. Whatever. I knew it wasn't going to be everybody's thing. And then he's like, well, yeah, it's a pretty good piece of writing, isn't it? And she's like, so anyway, this other subject that I'm going to talk about, like, just changes, like, doesn't even respond. And I'm like, oh, no. She's probably not a fan. And I felt like a little bummed about it, but then I reminded myself something that I knew going into this is not everybody is going to like these. And, especially my books, because they mix stuff that generally doesn't go together, because I talk a lot about religion, and I talk a lot about, like, sexuality, and those can definitely butt heads. And so I knew it was something that people wouldn't like, that might outright just hate, and it might be something that some people absolutely adore. And so I'd remind myself, like, it's okay if somebody's not, like, a raving fan, because luckily my partner likes my books. We do, like, story time, or I get his opinions and his thoughts, and he helps me fix, like, plot holes and things like that before anybody else reads it. I had another friend that read my first book, and she was like, this really helped to get me through, like, when quarantine kind of first started. And she's like, it was so helpful, because I was just freaking out, and it was really nice to, like, have that escape. And I was like, oh, thank you. And another, like, early reader one morning, like, messaged me, and she was like, hey, guess what I did this morning? Like, she just sat down, read the entire thing in one go. And she's like, oh, I loved it, like this, and I love this, and there's this thing that was really cool. And I was like, thank you. And it made me very happy. So I have to remind myself that some people do like my stuff, and some people are not going to like it. And like I said, that is okay. Another thing I was going to say is, I think it can be easy to get too perfectionist-y, because that's totally a word. See, Matilda thinks so. She's like, yep. She's very excited by this. But you can get, like, so in your head and be like, is this good enough to put out? And that was a thought I definitely had, and I had to be like, okay, obviously there are people who are going to be way better writers than I am, but there's going to be people who are worse. And sometimes, I hate saying this, sometimes bad writing can still be very enjoyable. That's not an excuse to just be terrible and just be like, whatever. Like, I always think you should try to improve, and try to put out the best that you can, with whatever level you're at. But there's stuff out there that, is made fun of for its poor writing, but many people just love. And there's a series of books that I've read that are cheesy and ridiculous, and it's like these big buff alien dudes that come to Earth and find their female mates and steal them away. And they're not the best, but I just love them. I think they're just fantastic. They're just a fun escape. And so I was like, if I can put out something that's a fun escape for people, or makes them think, or helps them deal with whatever they're going through, if they find something in there that they're like, oh my gosh, I really relate to this, or if it helps them see a different point of view, or whatever, that's cool. And I like that. So I would say, don't sweat it if you're not, on this like highbrow level with beautiful prose and something that's just so cerebral, where you're going to be winning fancy awards of some sort. If you've got a song in your heart that you're going to write out and you want to share with the world, I say share it. Because, like these videos I take with my phone and I don't edit them. And they showcase how I'm not great with words when I'm talking. That's the beauty of writing, because you can go back and fix it. And I could go back and edit, but I'm not going to, because then I would never get these done. So, I don't know what the moral of the story is. It's, try your best, and if your best isn't as good as somebody else's best, that's okay, as long as you tried. Or something. Does that make sense? I don't know. I'm done. I hope you have a beauteous day. Bye.